Chairman, the member is forcing me to behave like the chairperson. Abna. What is current ratio? Me, I know debit, the receiver, credit, the giver.
We see a funny and of your woman for one sunny, Hannah or the latest update in our own subscriber is show Bomodia subscribing. We are notification bell no one channel no me so send be any news be a coso Ghana a buyer not just our son so can be waha. Yes already in feeling gymnast hybrid. Yini baby ko yet too far the near chimo a year parliament house. Na said the in public account committee settings no gusu di ashesha so send a biom bitima probe into a year public sectors for more year jumo said the almost mismanage our resources. Said the manage our resources. Account be also make it extra public, through the public account committee. I just say yes, our committee no parliament house through omutimate the accounting in the NPP. Then you be as education minister, Honorable Iddrisu. And akwa kopio no be ota ha dream power committee ne so no abna sorry the NPP MP and was a former deputy finance minister Wakufo amemu no ono pa na sebi o ha adwen anytime be ava so act as if say sa nyama na omo ka no na onka ho bi. Now, so committee or mati or more probe since this year, last year account no more by this year account. Now, sometimes an NPP MPs for Martinez committee, so they want to paint a picture as if say this committee, this year account no more. Now, so no true education, it's me educated the masses. No. And I hear Iddrisu at me good animasi pa and now I feel as a hoodro and I feel so I raise some Supreme Court case be or just anyas and couldn't see the Newz course.
You have to ensure respect and compliance. I'll follow through with him and his team. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next one we'll go to is National Service Authority, National Service Scheme. And Honorable Abna Osei will handle that one, please.
Honorable Minister, should I go on?
Chair, you may want to go on, but I will choose to set the record. I'm not responsible and I do not exercise oversight over the national service.
So that is why I asked you.
And the President Mohammed's reset is more of a youth-related activity and accordingly have been placed under the oversight of the Honorable Minister for Youth and not the Ministry of Education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We will let the appropriate ministry come and answer to this infraction. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The next one we'll go to is Student Loan Trust. Honorable Enim will take care of that one.
Okay,
it's on paragraph
666. So, Minister, will be considering the financial performance and financial position of Student Loan Trust. With the financial performance, you can see that the bottom line, we are still not doing well. For 2022, we had a deficit of over 5,204,000. Then 2023, we had a deficit of 5,116,000. Although there was some small improvement, but then it's still very bad situation because we cannot continue to put surpluses. And I know the activities of the Student Loan Trust is not for profit making or anything, but then we should be also be prudent with how we spend within these institutions. I would want to look at the first item, compensation of for employees, it went up by about 33%. I just want to understand whether this was due to the increase or improvement in staff strength, or this was as a result of some increases in bonuses and compensation to employees.
Chairman, thank you very much. It will be a combination of it: new recruitments, promotion, and payment of bonuses. And Chairman, the Ghana Student Loan Trust is now being repositioned by the President to undertake 3 major core social interventions of the Mahama administration. One, the payment of bursaries, or call it a no-fee stress, which Chair has made significant impact on the life of those students who otherwise, for being financially disadvantaged, may not have been able to pay their fees. Then 2, the Ghana Student Loan Trust now is also responsible for the disbursement of the no fees for persons with disability, a new rights-based approach to supporting persons with disability. Chairman, I'm before Parliament, as you recall, in seeking a review of the Ghana Scholarship Authority. It is my view that in future, these two institutions can relate: the Ghana Student Loan Trust Fund and the Scholarship Authority. My view, even though I campaigned unsuccessfully, was that we should earmark 2.5% of oil revenue for human capital development and human resource development, so that into the future we could have what pertains in Sri Lanka, a Ghana Bursaries and Scholarship Authority, so that one arm of it will be responsible for bursaries to pay it to a no fee stress category of persons. And then, Honorable Abuna, you guide us with your experience at the Ministry of Finance. So now you say no fee stress, most impactful initiative of President Mahama. Now, if in September, October, November, the Ministry of Finance is not able to release the money for student loan trust, it defeats the purpose of the intervention. You're asking the student to go and borrow. It's the same student who is in need, who doesn't have the support, who is in dire, urgent need of it. So earlier releases can be useful and supportive. But as I said, my view was that because Ghana have never had a scholarship authority bill, I wanted to work 1 year, see what scholarship will do, deal with this nepotism and chronism associated with allocation of scholarship, provide for some discipline. But believe me, my most impactful lunch as minister was when the no fee stress was launched. I had good sleep that this was an impactful, meaningful social intervention of the president. And many of you sitting here, colleague MPs, you know how much you spend in paying school fees when the period comes. You get demands. So, but just to send a caution, Chairman, the Director General of GTEC is here. I've seen some schools increasing their fees because government says it's absorbing them. We won't accept it. So make sure you issue consequential instructions to your schools not to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We are still on the financial performance. I want to understand 1 or 2 things here. From your revenue from exchange transactions, I see here interest income, which went up by about 48%. I just want to understand what form of or what kind of investments is SLTF involved in? What kind of investment that would be able to give you this amount, this increase of about 48%? What kind of investment are they into?
I'm sure normally they get releases from the Ghana Education Trust Fund, and then they deposit it in banks whilst processing payment. Arising out of it, some interest accrue, and that is accountable for what you just mentioned. And Vice Chairman, I'm happy to announce that we've now, Ghana Student Loan Trust have roped in students at the law school can now go in for the Student Loan Plus. Okay. Hitherto, this was not done. The President announced it when he launched the opportunity and facility for persons with disability. And then, Chairman, so here is where you accountants, you can help government. We are thinking of reviewing the interest rate regime of the Student Loan Trust. Now, a student gets a loan, that student gets out of school, he has no job, and you are compounding interest for the student. Mathematically, what's the fairness in that? So we may have to go back to the simple interest regime, but also not jeopardizing the income security of those from whom emanates from. But I don't think that it's fair that we compound interest when they don't have jobs. But the student loan trust, I believe, is doing well. I've requested Get Fund to increase their budgetary allocation so that those, in addition to their need, if the government is paying off your no fee stress, and you think that you need an additional 5,000 or 10,000 to support your need, you can go back to the student loan trust, enter an arrangement with them, and you'll be supported. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think that I asked this question because I saw the drop in your current ratio, which in financial sense, it makes a lot of sense because we are utilizing the cash resources that we do have, and that is what resulted in the increase in the interest income. And that is something that will encourage that all these institutions will learn from and be able to adopt these good cash management practices. Thank you, Chair.
Chairman, the member is forcing me to behave like the chairperson. Abna. What is current ratio? Me, I know debit the receiver, credit the giver. Yeah, taking me to the world of current ratio. The accountants here, we want to respond to that. All I remember is debit the receiver, credit the giver. I don't remember what.
Honorable Minister, I would like to ask you a question on returned pickup vehicles loan to national security. The auditors are saying that we cited a letter with reference number SCR/DC 28/554/01D dated April 7th, 2020 from the Office of the President requesting for the release of the vehicles to national security, which stated that the vehicles will be returned upon completion. We noted during our review of assets management that 100 brand new Isuzu pickup vehicles procured by the ministry in 2020 to be distributed to various SHS and other education institutions to facilitate teaching, learning, and other administrative activities were released to Lieutenant Colonel Faustina Dennison with National Security on 28th of March 2020 and 29th of March 2020 to assist in the fight of COVID-19 pandemic. These vehicles have not been returned to the ministry after the pandemic ended. We also noted that no change of ownership was effected from the supplier's name, Mac Autos and Spare Parts Ghana Limited, into the ministry's name before the vehicles were released to the national security. And it gives a long list over here. We recommended that the chief director should, as a matter of urgency, recover all the vehicles, and any vehicle not in good condition should be replaced by the national security, failing which the chief director should be held liable. Minister, what has happened to these vehicles?
Chairman, the chief director is here. It's your whole but Chair, to assure you that it's important that we put your question in context. As you yourself rightly observe, COVID, the country had to go through some national emergency in containing COVID. And probably at the time, national security required those vehicles. You know, government procurement. You couldn't have been waiting that go through procurement of 1 to 3 months to get vehicles to release to national security. They needed to be around the country to support health emergency staff in fixing and supporting the delivery of health services to those who require them. Chairman, I'm liaising with the Office of the Chief of Staff and the Office of National Security Coordinator for the retrieval of those vehicles. Chair, I will share with you a letter edited and signed by me, which I forwarded to the National Security Coordinator to account for those vehicles, and I'll do follow up on them. I thank you.
Is okay, so let me go back to the Get Fund issue, the financials of Get Fund. Looking at the financials, Get Fund, if you look at the revenue from exchange transactions, 2022, Minister, will you be the one answering the questions of Get Fund?
Chairman, I will attempt. If you are not satisfied, then the Get Fund administrator himself will come in. But I'll attempt an answer.
Honorable Minister, then maybe we need to reschedule them.
Chairman will be happy if you reschedule us to deal with the Get Fund.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Kesi has a question to ask.
Chairman, thank you very much. There's a very quick one. Minister, the Public Accounts Committee is one of the committees that is of very importance and relevance in our financial management arrangements in this country. Because once Parliament allocates monies to ministries, agents, and departments, it's important that accountability, fairness, prudence, and transparency in its management is required. With your rich experience, I mean, I met you as the majority-minority leader, and with you being in this house for a very long time, in just about, say, 3 sentences, how do you find this committee, and how do you think that in this 9th Parliament and going forward, we can augment the work that we do so that at least the nation's finances and the people who are entrusted with the care of these monies will be prudent, fair, and adequate in the management of these resources?
Thank you very much, Honorable Akwesi Kwenedo. And you know, if there is a medical person in this committee or in this room, growing up, I'm reminded that a flawless diagnosis at autopsy is impossible. So when the Public Accounts Committee, you are doing very well, and you've saved the country billions. Even the mere, for those of us with sociology background, the mere fact that he is to appear before public accounts operates as a social control measure. Will I survive? Can I survive? Will I make it? Restraining. It will redefine public officers' posture. And you are holding us accountable as required by the Constitution. I believe Article 187 mandates you. But Chairman, the Parliament of Ghana and the executive and the judiciary have not been fair to the taxpayer. We ought to remember at all times that sovereignty resides in the people. And when you are spending public resources, we all must be reminded that there will be dire consequences when you betray the public trust. Now refer to Article 1876 of the Constitution. It says that Parliament shall, after debating the report, where necessary, recommend a committee in the public interest. So if from 1993 to yesterday, Parliament has not been responsive, that is an injustice to the Ghanaian people, in my view. But it doesn't take the Auditor General. He has done his work. It comes to you at public account. But again, Chairman, Ghana, we operate with law. There is a worrying Supreme Court ruling on the matter. So, for instance, if anybody appears before your committee and then, forgive me, somebody wants to do a prosecution based on Public Accounts Committee, the Supreme Court ruling, I don't have the title, may operate as a limitation, because are you exhaustive? After your committee, nothing happened, no committee. The Supreme Court and the courts of Ghana will be guided. So my advice to your committee is not just your committee, but Parliament. I know President Mahama recently announced that he was going to engage with the Auditor General, the Chief Justice. I think he should extend it to include the Speaker of Parliament, so that the trial will have a discussion how to move beyond public account findings. And it is only Parliament. It didn't say the executive. It didn't say the judiciary. It says Parliament. There are many things. 1993, the Constitution guaranteed that, including spousal rights. We've gone to sleep on it. Since 93, you don't have legislation governing that. So my advice is that, in fact, in Australia, the Auditor General sits in Parliament. That's how important they view the work you are doing in some Parliament. In fact, the best ally of Parliament is the Auditor General. But in Ghana, you are interested in what I said, post-mortem findings. When the harm has been done, then Abena, the able chair, will question and query us with members of the committee. But I think that in terms of guaranteeing and ensuring accountability, from the days of Kandapa, Sḻamṣ to Abena Asari, you are doing a good job in holding public officials accountable to respect the Public Financial Management Act and other enabling legislation. But we can do better if the three co-equal organs of state will be minded that they need to protect the public purse and guarantee value for money. I think that would be useful. Thank you.
Yeah. Minister, thank you very much. But we always seem to forget that audit is done at the end of the year. So it is not when, I don't think in their position they would want to do it after the harm has been done. But their mandate says that they will have to audit at the end of the year. So that if we have our internal controls in the various ministries, departments, and agencies working efficiently, beyond what they also do, we can help to bring the many infractions that they are cited at the end of the year down if we enforce the sanctions as we meted out to any public officer, whether a political figure or a public servant. If we are able to enforce those sanctions, I don't think that the infractions will be so much that at the end of the year, when their mandate is to look at things at the end of the year and they come, we will see the number of things, the number of infractions we are seeing. So beyond what we do, we should also make sure the systems and the processes that have been set in the law for proper use of public resources, we should ensure that they work. And once they work, I believe that with your suggestion that Parliament, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive should work together in conjunction with the auditor.
We say for your tea, said in commodity training course, no. A year committee, a year amount for more questions, no. Be renana bisa questions, relevant questions. I would do just say a year honorable Iddrisu with me ni more questions ni. They also yarn with me and they want me yarn so or share the appropriate ministry on meeting bedding and be yisa questions nano. Non so motiase. No, and one of the MPs or NPP ni catch and say. On one kasa said the ono unimdi nimumra nim Ghana bako semibri. Especially a year in terms of parliament and parliamentary proceedings near mayor parliament house and committees including DNA or bet now why we see some questions in ohun sa committee a your friend public account committee no ohun ni sen since our motives our committee no fa so ben na Ghana enya na no na eye her na Iddrisu honorable her na Iddrisu mani hu say be oye hypocrite oye very hypocrite. This committee we at now since 1993 and till Sabri. And right now, when you're going to be a question, as our question now will be some. And meanwhile, also, I can say, and yet this time, now Parliament week, and our about Parliament. At least what now for some years. The other time, I know Momo Abemono. Now, more ministers in a bar. One by me, we answer question, I will be signing. Now I feel I will buy this question say committee 18 for so ben also and I for so ben in free so. And on I heard honorable her Iddrisu a shame and say committee we any enable in ne and at this committee ba. So if say we feel say in for so being free so and it is because more committees we beer and our mama about so that no be omadwuma no enwi pay be before for boys some year na aboa ama committee ni Ghana for enya so mfa so because o ka say niema o constitution bia no niema ebeboa ma Ghana ni bia enya so mfa so enya some small people be. So a constitution may who say or quote the article may who say after this public account committee no Parliament needs to take some urgent actions against Nkrofo sebi omodi omani sika omuntimi nchire ade papa omodi says can I ubisa na no they are told bisa they are told that means ni background why they wafa there are a lot of urgent questions be or answer actions be or this committee through Parliament no bitima take it any panel. Now so no since 1993 I business hybrid omuye we publicly MOB and one go shema. Oh, honorable scam 500 million what the then also made 2 million 200 million 300 million was and the intimately moody sika sana kwa go shema. Now also no say ni planning to me and this kind of year through Parliament, and there is a lot of actions at Parliament bitimatiki with the help of the Auditor General. Now so much now moon take his actions no. Meanwhile that actions on bitimatiki no under some portion of the constitution no. Now so much expecting the court. Expecting some agencies to call those people. Now so no yes agencies no and na Auditor General no the ASR report no come on the Parliament omo wi omo fam die omo wi the constitution is omo no wi mum prepare a audit e ban come Parliament no mum probe na no kramra na account no mum timi take we na most mo probe na mo deba public say mo ye publicity hearing one account committee na mo wi na say mo antiki action bi amfa so be na wo so ye be kwa abasi ya to honor the journalists or hypocrites and then there's a question during the time there's a question I just saw this house near the MR. There are a lot of vehicles some national security officers for people here in Iddrisu chest or order some of us are cars number. Now so much cars and because as you speaking on Juma was a cars needing a DAV and so cars and that's one through a COVID-19 and the cars and these people send a multimedia distribute and ordinary Ghanaians. Because during that time, Ghana and Intimin Ko and Juma, Untimi and Yama be so through this, Omana a distributing Yama Manfo. Ye we can Mofamba and I buying a free so now so no dear one penny Emma can scarce near the end and watches the action voice already. What the key Supreme Court and maybe oversight team you say, will you beer Ghana and Kanko Ghana nkɔso da n'akoma so. Because when he said the sovereignty lies in the hands of ordinary Ghanaians. So who the omo akoma, who the omo dino mayeno, any peaceful no me any diagora at the end no, not just a no constitution on pay, democracy on pay. On the one more as I motivate you, and I feel so I'm be more person which is a hypocrite and so no. Almost smoothness level watches your team. Send me waiting my chair around the comment section. Subscribe and share my news with the Akroma.